currently working in?
Well, I work across a fairly broad demographic because my show is clean but general. But then I also, when I say general, I mean I do find myself working in church markets, or Christian. I hate to even use that term, but you know what I'm talking about. Christian markets, meaning Christian conferences, events that are specifically aimed at a Christian audience. Mm-hmm. But I'm not exclusively in that market. There are some guys out there, and I remember, back in the day, early on, where people would label themselves gospel ventriloquists. And it's kind of like in the magic world, where there are guys out there that are, gospel magicians. And to make a distinction between them and somebody that might work in some other arena, the gospel magicians typically always had some sort of a spiritual or gospel message wrapped up in virtually everything they did. It was always, the black silk represents sin, and the white silk, it's everything had, sort of spiritual meaning. And that can be true, I think, with ventriloquists as well, that sort of label themselves that way. In other words, all the content that they're doing has some sort of a spiritual or gospel lesson in it. I decided early on that wasn't me, that I wasn't going to be the guy that kind of was pigeonholed in that category. However, as somebody who wanted to share my faith, at least on some level, I did want to put something together that would communicate that from the stage when appropriate. And so not every time that I'm performing am I necessarily doing that little, spiritual nugget in my show, but certainly I'm willing to do that and excited to do that when it's appropriate and when I'm called upon to do that. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah.
I know acts who will dabble in schools, and yet, they basically do their act and tie things on to create the educational message. And it sounds like that's the same type thing you're doing.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, totally. Except it's more kind of a spiritual kind of a bent to it.